You think building a greenhouse costs thousands of dollars and takes weeks to set up, but the truth is, you can build a fully functional backyard greenhouse for just $200 using simple materials from any hardware store. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, step by step, from choosing the perfect sunny spot in your backyard to assembling the frame, installing the plastic covering, and making small design tweaks that make the difference between a greenhouse that barely works and one that produces more food than you ever imagined. By the end of this video, you'll know everything you need to create a low-cost greenhouse that extends your growing season, protects your plants, and turns even a small backyard into a food-producing powerhouse, all in just a single weekend. The first step is choosing the right location in your backyard. A greenhouse needs as much sunlight as possible, especially during the colder months when the sun sits lower in the sky. The ideal spot faces south and receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day. Avoid areas shaded by trees, fences, or buildings, because even small patches of shade can slow plant growth. The ground should also be relatively flat so the structure stays stable, the frame sits evenly, and water does not pool in any area. If your yard isn't completely level, you can use small amounts of soil or gravel to create a flat base, which will make assembling the frame much easier. To build a basic $200 greenhouse, you only need a few simple materials that are inexpensive and widely available. Most backyard growers use PVC pipes or lightweight metal conduit for the frame because they are easy to bend and work with. For the base, you'll need wooden boards, preferably treated or rot-resistant, to create a stable foundation. Clear greenhouse plastic film is used to cover the structure, trapping sunlight and warmth inside. You'll also need screws to secure the base and pipe connectors to attach the frame. Additional items like clamps or zip ties help hold the plastic in place. The tools you'll need are minimal: a drill, measuring tape, saw, and perhaps a hammer. Optional items, which add durability or convenience, include corner brackets for extra strength, a simple thermometer, and a lightweight wooden or PVC door frame. Once the location is chosen and the materials are gathered, the first physical step is building the base frame. The wooden base forms the foundation of your greenhouse and keeps the structure stable. Lay the boards in a rectangle, usually around 10 to 12 feet long and 6 to 8 feet wide, depending on your available space. Make sure all corners are square and use screws to join the boards securely. Some builders anchor the base further by driving metal stakes or rebar into the ground along the edges. This prevents the greenhouse from shifting during strong winds or heavy rain, which is especially important if your yard is exposed. With the base complete, the next step is installing the hoop frame. PVC pipes are used to create the curved, tunnel-like shape of the greenhouse. Place each pipe along the sides of the wooden base and bend it to meet the opposite side, forming a hoop. Space each hoop evenly along the length of the base, typically 3 to 4 feet apart along the length of the base. As you add more hoops, the structure begins to resemble a skeleton tunnel. To further strengthen the frame, attach a long pipe along the top connecting all the arches. This ridge pipe stabilizes the structure, prevents the hoops from shifting, and helps the greenhouse resist wind pressure. Small variations in pipe size or hoop spacing can be adjusted depending on your space or the crops you plan to grow. Once the frame is fully assembled, the greenhouse plastic can be installed. A single large sheet of clear plastic is stretched over the entire frame, covering the top and sides. The plastic should be pulled tight to prevent flapping in the wind and to avoid water pooling. Secure the edges to the wooden base using screws with washers, wooden strips, or clamps. If the plastic is loose, wind can lift it and reduce the effectiveness of the greenhouse. Make sure to leave enough plastic at the ends to create a door and small ventilation flaps. A tight, secure covering ensures that the greenhouse traps heat and creates the perfect environment for plant growth. Building a door is a critical part of the process. You'll need a simple frame at one end of the greenhouse, which can be made from wood or PVC. Cover it with the same plastic sheeting used on the main structure. Attach it using basic hinges so it can open and close easily. The door allows easy access to your plants and, importantly, functions as a ventilation system. On sunny days, the temperature inside the greenhouse can rise very quickly, so opening the door lets excess heat escape. For larger greenhouses, adding small vent panels or flaps at the top of the structure is a simple way to allow airflow while maintaining warmth near the plants. With the structure complete, the next step is preparing the interior for planting. Many backyard gardeners build raised beds along the sides of the greenhouse. Raised beds improve drainage, make planting easier, and allow better soil management. You can also plant directly in the soil if it's fertile and well drained. Adding compost, organic matter, or a light layer of mulch improves soil fertility, retains moisture, and encourages healthy plant growth. If you're planting multiple types of vegetables, consider arranging the beds so taller plants don't shade shorter ones. Using vertical supports like trellises or cages is a great way to maximize space, especially for climbing plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, or beans. Now comes one of the most important details: planting your crops. The greenhouse will be most productive if you use a method called succession planting. Instead of planting everything at once and waiting months for a harvest, plant fast-growing crops in waves. As soon as one batch is harvested, another is planted in the same spot. Crops like lettuce, spinach, radishes, and Asian greens are ideal for this because they grow quickly and can be harvested within a few weeks. This creates a continuous cycle of food production so that the greenhouse never sits empty. Think of it like a food conveyor belt rather than a single harvest, keeping your small space consistently productive. Another tip is crop rotation. Even within a greenhouse, rotating your crops helps maintain soil fertility and prevents disease buildup. For example, don't plant tomatoes in the same spot every season. Rotate leafy greens, root vegetables, and fruiting plants across beds. This simple step improves yields and reduces the risk of pests or soil-borne diseases. Adding compost between planting cycles further restores nutrients and keeps your soil healthy. Maintenance is another key factor. Keep the plastic clean and free of debris to allow maximum sunlight inside. Check for tears or gaps that could let heat escape. Monitor temperature and humidity inside the greenhouse and make adjustments as needed by opening the door or adding small ventilation panels. Watering should be consistent but not excessive. Installing a simple drip irrigation system or using a watering can works well for small spaces. Regularly removing dead leaves or diseased plants ensures that your greenhouse stays productive and healthy throughout the growing season. With all these steps completed, your greenhouse is ready to produce food. What began as a simple collection of materials has now become a controlled growing environment, capable of producing far more food than a traditional outdoor garden. Even a small 10 by 6 foot greenhouse can produce hundreds of pounds of vegetables in a single season if managed correctly. This includes early spring greens, summer tomatoes and cucumbers, and leafy vegetables again in the fall when outdoor gardens are done. By building this inexpensive greenhouse and using techniques like succession planting, raised beds, vertical supports, and proper maintenance, even a small backyard can feed a family for months. The work involved is manageable, and the rewards compound quickly. A space that might have grown a few herbs now becomes a reliable source of fresh, healthy food for your family. If you enjoyed learning how to build a simple backyard greenhouse that maximizes productivity, consider subscribing. Each week, we explore practical gardening strategies, DIY systems, and easy-to-implement techniques that anyone can use to grow more food with less space, less cost, and more efficiency. With the right approach, even a small backyard can become a miniature farm that produces fresh, healthy food for your family.